finally brought this series back, everybody. So we changed the title. Look at that. Tina, what is the name of the series? At the cinema with D&T.
forgot.
At the cinema with D&T. This is basically. By the way, sorry for people who liked Friday Night Movie Reviews. It's the same series as. It's the same series. At the cinema with D&T, Dolan, T, Tay. For those of you who guys didn't know, with her stupid Vanilla Ice shirt. Her t-shirt about Vanilla Ice, which I can make fun of all day long. But, however, yes, anyways, this is the same thing, but we've changed up the schedule. Just barely. More so, we don't just do it on Fridays, even though this video
We're
is
just gonna
on
do
Friday.
it whenever we feel like it. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm gonna upload it. Oh, no, I'll upload it tonight.
Yeah, yeah, but, we brought this series back. We had to delete it. This was mostly my fault when I say that we deleted it.
It's
But
all his fault.
it actually is genuinely all my fault. But, yeah, enough of that. The point is that we're back. We have made some changes.
I broke my jaw. Oh,
What did you think was gonna happen? You bit into a frozen cap of water. What do you think it was gonna feel nice?
No, that fucking hurt.
Tina,
bro.
take that beanie off. It is preventing your. You know, I don't even have a joke plan.
That really actually fucking hurt. I think I actually hurt myself. Okay, let's go.
Okay, so the movie that we're going to be reviewing today is A Nightmare on Elm Street, released in not 2004. I'm a retard.
Can you do this?
Hmm?
Yeah. Okay. Just
Everybody's
making sure
able to do that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
With a lower jaw.
Just making sure I'm not
Yeah, but the
broken.
movie that we're reviewing today is A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984, written and directed by Wes Craven, and starring Heather Langenkamp, Nick Corey. His actual name is Sue Garcia, but he went by Nick Corey. Amanda Weiss, I think that's her name.
Weiss.
John Saxon, the lady from Nashville, I forgot her name. And Johnny Depp. This was his very first movie. And then he did Private Resort, or Last Resort, or whatever it was called. And then he did 21 Jump Street. That made him famous. And then he did, all kinds of different movies. But yeah, so yeah, this is a good movie.
Just to address, sorry to interrupt.
That's good.
That's a chair making that sound.
Yeah.
We're not farting.
I don't care if they think I'm farting. I want them to know that's gonna be a little bit annoying.
Yeah, it'll be a little annoying, and it's not farting.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah.
Anyways.
So, yeah, the movie follows Nancy Thompson, played by Heather Langenkamp. Her friend Tina, played by Amanda Weiss, or Amanda Weiss. We're just gonna call her Amanda.
I'm gonna call her Weiss.
Yeah. Just Weiss, or do you call her Amanda
I
Weiss?
call her Weiss.
But yeah, by the way, sorry if I keep on doing this a lot. I picked up a new tick. But her best friend Tina, played by Amanda, she's been having nightmares about a serial killer who's trying to kill her. She's moved the mouse. By the way, just for example that you guys know, not example. Anyways, her and her friends, her and her boyfriend Glenn, played by Johnny Depp, and even Rod, who's Tina's ex-boyfriend, comes back to the house to help her out because she's got freaked out by the nightmares. But instead of helping her out, they basically don't really help her out because then she has a nightmare. But this time she actually does get killed, and Rod takes the blame for it. Rod's the name of Tina's ex-boyfriend.
Because basically, like, he was there, like, in the room
bedroom
when it went down.
Yeah.
So, he was prime suspect.
Nancy is now depressed about the situation. And
But
then,
wouldn't be.
Yeah, but the situation, Rod then tells her that somebody else was in the room. And then after he gets arrested by her father, who's the local sheriff of the town she lives in, Springwood, Ohio, which is a fictional small town in Ohio, obviously. Basically,
Springwood? Is that where the Simpsons live?
No, that's Springfield. That's an actual place, too,
I
I
know,
think.
yeah. It's in, like, Illinois or
Yes.
something. I don't know.
But, however, over time, Nancy begins to have reoccurring nightmares about the man, but he looks the same way Tina had to describe the man in her nightmares to have been looking. And while investigating her best friend's murder, she begins to realize the much more darker and supernatural meaning behind all of the nightmares.
Yeah, that's, like, the gist of the movie.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give you our thoughts now.
Yeah, quick capsule review. It's really good. If you like any 80s or just horror movies in general, or if you like the supernatural, or you're fascinated by dreams and nightmares and how they work, you should definitely check out this movie. And if you're a fan of Wes Craven,
It's a classic.
yeah, it is
It's
a horror.
a classic.
It spawned a whole entire franchise, a whole
Which-
entire series, a TV series.
All, even though aren't like amazing, they
Yeah.
all have like a really strong like cult following. I've noticed.
Yeah, I
Like
have.
there's always like a group of people that like really enjoy
Yeah.
one. Even like the dumber ones per
Yeah,
se.
like Nightmare on Elm Street 5,
Yeah.
Dream Child, or something like that.
Like to me that's kind of a dumb movie. Like that's not the one that I would reach
yeah.
for.
It's definitely
But a lot
not,
of
not the worst.
no, I mean it's like
not
not the
bad.
worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about like the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise that is
Yeah.
like really alluring and intriguing.
Yeah.
And always good.
And there's something popping up about Geek Squad on Pornhub
Okay,
Twitter.
I get it.
But yes, sorry about that. We had these reminders for some stuff. But however, you know, if you the weird thing about this series is that it started off really dark and really disturbing. For me specifically, it's the second movie because that was the third
Which
one.
we
I
will
would
get
say.
to probably next time or so.
Yeah, probably. But that one's to me at least, the most dark, the most grim, the most disturbing, and the most sweaty because the character's constantly sweating
I would be too.
all throughout
though.
the movie. Yeah, she nearly died.
I almost fell. No, yeah, I feel like the franchise starts out really like strong and like it's
Yeah.
horror
Yeah.
roots, and then it gets kind of funny as time goes on, but it still has like a little bit of gore
Yeah,
to it. Like not a lot of blood
Yeah.
necessarily, maybe, but like crazy shit happens.
yeah. It's not like an Eli Roth movie or an early Peter Jackson movie. It doesn't go, or like an early
No.
Sam Raimi movie. It doesn't get so unbelievably gory that you can't handle it.
Yeah, no.
It just gets gory enough. Like, for example, when Tina, she crawls up upon the ceiling, then she falls down and blood splatters everywhere. And there's a later on scene that we'll talk about involving Johnny Depp's character Glenn, which is a nice name. I should name I'm gonna name my kid that. But yeah.
I'm not winking, by the way. My eyes are fucking with me.
And sorry, and I'm not flirting with any of you guys. I once again I picked up a new tick. But however,
See, this is our thing.
yeah, we're kind of mentally.
He's got the brows, I got the eye.
Yeah. Like in Shrek with my twitch. But anyways, but Wes Craven, he got his start in the 1970s with fairly dark, fairly disturbing movies like The Last House on the Left, which was all about two girls who get kidnapped, raped, tortured, and murdered by escaped convicts. And then the parents of one of the girls gets revenge when they start taking shelter in the parents in the girl's house. And then he did The Hills Have Eyes, which was a movie about these people stuck on this like nuclear plant, not nuclear plant, but nuclear war site in New Mexico. And then there's this like family of like crazy cannibal Texas Chainsaw Massacre inbreds, you know, who then they kidnap their baby, a small baby, after attempting rape. There's lots of rape in his earlier movies.
You could say that it's kind of a nice difference because it's still in the horror realm, but it's not
Yeah.
anything super like disturbing or like offensive per se.
Yeah, I mean, there's like murder and kidnapping and torture and rape, but there's nothing like, it's not like Hostel, you know, it's not like ultra
Yeah.
gory.
Well, and they're still not really.
Yeah, I mean, well, in The Last House on the Left,
I'm
there
talking
was-
about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah, in Nightmare on Elm Street, there is no rape. They imply that
That
Freddy
he was a
Krueger's-
rapist.
Yeah, they imply that he's a child molester. They don't actually specifically say.
or
that
really
he-
show anything.
Yeah, they don't really show him doing. They don't say, "Well, he did this." Cuts to some like
Well-
retarded flashback.
And the only time I really think that they make it ever really seem like he was a child molester was in Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah,
At the beginning. I feel like that one is the
Yeah.
one that really makes everybody think that he'd be a child
Yeah,
molester.
it's-
Just because the way it was, like, the beginning was.
yeah, it's the most insinuative with
Yes.
its child molestation.
Besides
type
the
things.
remake, where
Yeah.
they get more into depth about it.
Yeah, where in the
but-
remake he
where they
wasn't-
actually state it and shit.
Yeah, and not even like he was both a child killer and child molester. Like he was a flat out pedophile,
Yeah,
and he raped half the kids in a kindergarten he worked for.
yeah.
Yeah, but in between Last House on the Left and Hills Have Eyes, Wes Craven had in 1975 he made a porno But believe it or not, it's the most story-driven porno I have ever seen. I haven't even seen it, but I have seen clips.
We're done now.
It's called The Fireworks Woman.
We're done.
Yes.
We're done.
Okay, but yeah. However, on to Nightmare on Elm Street. This was after Wes Craven couldn't really get too much work. In 1981, he did this. Sorry about that. I'm missing with a cabinet or a drawer or whatever. But in 1981, Wes Craven did Deadly Blessing, which didn't really do too successful. But by the way, there was a scene of a woman sleeping in a... Oh, that's empty. It's an empty water bottle. It was a plastic one. But however, Crystal Geyser, by the way. I'm gonna get lots of money. I'm kidding. But however, he made Deadly Blessing, which did have a scene of put in front of the webcam. Do it. Do it, Ted.
Not sponsored.
Yes, but however, basically, it did have a scene of a woman falling asleep, kind of in a bathtub. There's a snake crawling up to her. There's a scene very similar to that in this movie, but we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, Wes Craven seems to like have things from other movies. I need to stop doing that. Like in other movies, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. He likes to reference.
Wait, hold up a second. Who wrote it?
Which one?
The book.
Oh, Stephen King.
Oh, okay. So never mind. I'm not like the horror movie expert like he is. I thought Wes Craven wrote that book for a minute.
Yeah.
But okay, never mind. But no, yeah, like he seems to like really connect movies. It seems like I almost made an E.T. reference.
You're kidding.
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
If you couldn't tell, I don't know what I'm talking about.
But,
I'm just a bystander.
Yes, man. But however, in 1982, he did Swamp Thing, which didn't do too well. By that I mean, it flat out bombed at the box office. It did not do any good. You know, he was teaching at a film school. But then, in 1984, he wrote this. Well, I think he wrote it in like the 70s. But either way, either he wrote it in the 80s and then he was pawning and shopping it around. Either that or he wrote it in the 70s, but then he kept it around, and then when he wasn't getting enough work, he used the script to get him jobs.
What's that?
The movie Nightmare on Elm Street script.
Sorry, I like Space Out.
Yeah, but however, it was inspired by an incident of something that happened to kids living in California that he had read in the newspaper in the 70s, around the time he was doing Last House on the Left, either that or Fireworks Woman or Last House on, or Hills Have Eyes. No, it was Hills Have Eyes. But while doing that movie, he read about these teenagers that believed that a serial killer was following them into their dreams, and then, you know, they would stay awake for days upon weeks, upon even one kid stayed up for a month at a time. You know, their parents were so stressed out.
I think they were on meth.
Yeah, they might have actually been.
Sounds like meth.
Yeah.
Don't do meth, kids.
At least take it responsibly. But don't do it. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. But however, what did happen was these kids would get sedated by their parents, and then, you know, they would be tucked into bed, and then their parents would be like, oh, it's finally over. Then they heard screaming, and each child was found dead. But it looked like they were murdered. Either somebody broke into the house and was killing them in their sleep, and that they just woke up, and while half awake, they just saw the person, thought it was, they were drifting in and out of sleep, and they thought it was a killer, or they thought it was somebody of their dreams. Either that, or maybe it was supernatural. It probably wasn't, but it's probably the first one I just guessed. But however, you know, he thought, wouldn't it be cool if there was a guy who lived in dreams, and he could get you there?
Well, that wouldn't be cool in real life.
Well, in real life, no, but in a movie, it would be an interesting.
In a movie, it's dope. In real life,
it's not dope.
No,
it's
thanks.
not dope.
Not dope at all.
Yeah, so then he wrote the script, and then he started pawning it and shopping it off to movie companies, but each one said no. It was either this is too stupid or this is too violent. And then he met New Line Cinema, or the guy running New Line Cinema, Robert Shea, who's still the CEO, I think, till this day. But however, what happens is he gave them this because they were doing like documentaries for college, documentary movies for college, for like these college classes or like film school or whatever, and nobody would like them. So then they were doing pretty rough too. And then they read it, and they instantly liked it. Robert Shea said, okay, sounds great. Let's get the budget. Let's do this. then he did make it. He casted everybody. I don't think casted is the word, but yeah, he cast everybody. Which, by the way, does include Johnny Depp, who you may know as many people in movies. You know, you may know him.
This was a movie that paved. Is that the word?
Yeah, paved the way.
Paved the way for his career.
Yeah.
It was his first ever. Was it his first ever movie in
his,
general, or
it
just big movie?
It was his first thing ever, and just so yeah, it was both big thing ever and just big movie. Yeah. Yes, but however, after this, he did this one movie. It's either called Private Resort or Last Resort. I get it mixed up with a movie with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. However, yeah, I saw the movie when I was like 7, and I liked it, And then he did the show 21 Jump Street. And that also paved a bigger way for him.
What? What are you trying to say? What?
But anyways, he did all kinds of different movies, like Dead Man. I think that's what, excuse me, what's called. I think it's called I think that's what's called, Dead Man. But it was 1988 or 87, 88 or 89. But then he did one of my favorite movies, which is called Crybaby, that the director of Pink Flamingos, John Waters, did, and it's set in Baltimore in 1954. And then he's like this punk boy, like greaser and stuff. This is one of my favorite movies. It's stupid, but it's good.
We all have those movies that are stupid but good.
Yeah. And then he's done more dramatic work like Blow. And he's also done Donnie Brasco.
And he's also done stuff like Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah, he's done lots of Tim Burton work.
Mm-hmm.
He did Edward Scissorhands, which is probably still his most famous work next to 21 Jump Street and Donnie Brasco. He did one of my all-time favorite movies, Benny and June, which is a fantastic movie. It's filmed locally for us in Spokane, Washington. He's done all kinds of movies. He's just my favorite actor of all time. Basically, sparked up when I was 7 because I had to, started figuring out about the movie Edward Scissorhands, and then I figured out and learned more about Johnny Depp. He is a really very good actor.
He can play anything.
Literally, he did a Tim Burton movie called Ed Wood, where he played an actual movie director, Edward D. Wood Jr., or Ed Wood, the director of movies like Glenn or Glenda, and Plan 9 from Outer Space, and all that stuff, and The Bride of the Monster, I think that's what it was called. But yeah, that's another really good movie. He's done Pirates of the Caribbean. He's done so much, His daughter's now acting, Lily Rose Depp. She's in Tusk. She's in Yoga Hosers, the Kevin Smith movies. She did a movie, I think it was called Planetarium or something. I think it was set in the 20s or the 30s. It's all about these two French actresses, and they can contact ghosts. And she's the kid to Johnny Depp and Vanessa Paradis, who's a French model. And his daughter's also now a French American model. And his son, I think he has 2 sons, John and Jack, but I think it's one kid, Jack. That sounded creepy when I brought up his kids, but but his kids are now acting. Some are good movies, like Yoga Hosers. It's a stupid movie. I like Yoga Hosers. We'll talk about that maybe.
But she said that's a good movie.
I like it.
It's not a good movie. Don't watch.
And then she did Lily Rose Depp.
Stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid. Just Google it if you don't know. But however, she did Planetarium, which I saw a little bit of, and I was a little bit bored, but it's a slow burn of a movie, so I'll probably check back into it. Maybe it gets even more better. I thought that way with Hugo, which Johnny Depp produced. I thought that way with that movie Hugo. It's boring at first, and then I came back to it in the later on parts, like the last third half, and every other part past the first 20, 21 minutes actually gets really interesting for me. But yeah, enough of me sucking off Johnny Depp. Onto the movie, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Basically, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a classic. If you like horror movies, you'll love this movie.
Yeah, you've probably already seen it.
There's so many other horror movies, and there's horror movies that came out before that one.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but I feel like it really paved the way for every other horror movie. It just made it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a classic in its time.
It is. Yeah.
Can't be beat.
It is up there with movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, I feel like all of those movies, the first of them for the most part, are Classic.
Yeah, they did pave the way. I'm sorry for using. No, I'm not sorry actually. Paved the way for slasher movies, which is now which in the 80s was such a big craze.
And to have like characters like Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers
and even
Jason
Pinhead.
Voorhees and Pinhead, like
Chucky.
monster like characters.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Chucky on this channel.
Even the much more obscure ones like Horace Pinker, who was in Shocker, which is another Wes Craven movie. It's actually really good. Later on after this movie, Wes Craven's career got even bigger. You know, he did some great movies like Serpent at the Rainbow, Shocker, like I brought up. I brought up Serpent at the Rainbow. That's wrong with my retard. Anyways, he also did The People Under the Stairs, which was great. And then he did Vampire in Brooklyn, which sucked balls. But why do you keep on poking my leg? She's been poking my leg, guys. But anyways. And then he did Cursed, which also kind of sucked balls, and then he did My Soul to Take, which I really liked. And then he's done the Scream movies, which are also, like, once again, like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Classic.
Yeah, and plus, like she said, if you're a horror movie fan, you've probably already seen it. You know, this is probably, you probably already, if you were like me, you're a horror movie fan, you're like, dang, bro, I am really in the mood to see some Nightmare on Elm Street, like, stuff. Click on Nightmare on Elm Street reviews. You came here, so you have probably at least seen one of the sequels, like Dream Warriors or Dream Master, which are already great, or Freddy's Nightmares, the
Or
TV
maybe
show.
you're a youngin' and you've heard of this and you're just intrigued.
Yeah. Maybe you're like, huh, well, I do wonder, are these really good movies? And then you've come here.
And you have someone, a millennial, if you will, and then a child.
Two millennials?
Are you a millennial?
Yeah, children, basically. Millennials.
I'm not a child. I'm like 20.
Okay, well, younger people.
Yeah, well, a millennial and a 13-year-old. So
Almost 13.
you've got like a nice variety. I was trying to do that, by the way.
Do you have your... Oh, okay.
No, my ring's on my other hand.
That scared me.
You would have felt that.
Oh my god, that would have been terrible. But anyways...
But basically the point is, you have an older person like me, a 20-year-old, and then a 13-year-old telling you that it's good. I mean, if a 13-year-old can like it, then you'll like it.
Yeah.
Just because it's old doesn't mean that it's boring or stupid. This is one of those movies that is just truly really good.
Yeah, it is very disturbing. It does get to some pretty creepy parts. But onto the movie. Spoilers.
But nothing offensive.
Yeah,
like
nothing. There's no rape. There's only implication of child molestation. But here's spoilers. I do it here like as if
we don't know how to edit, but. Spoilers.
You can use your imagination, you know.
Yeah, just imagine it says spoilers.
Imagine there's spoilers right there.
there.
Maybe we're not rich like everybody else, okay? But anyways, like Post Malone.
Ooh, Post Malone's my homie.
Yeah, Post Malone and H3, sure. H3 are great. Ethan Klein. But however, anyways, so yeah, the movie begins right off. You know, it's 23 minutes in, 23, 4, 5.
Oh, we already
6.
talked about that, so
yeah.
We don't have to talk about it. We already explained what it's about.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, the movie begins very quickly. Okay, I just need to get more in.
Bitch.
Okay.
Bitch.
The movie opens up with Tina, one of the main characters, who we think is going to be the very.
We already talked about this.
Okay, so well, let's begin after Tina's death.
No.
Why? Why?
This bitch trying to talk forever. We already talked about it.
No, but the review's not done. It's not done. Tina, it's not done.
We don't know how to edit,
Tina's
so
not
you're
done.
gonna just see all this. 23 fucking minutes.
Do not worry about it.
I'm worried
There's
about
longer videos on YouTube.
Okay, well, basically, Tina dies. They try to blame it on
Rod,
the boyfriend, because he was in the room. So, prime suspect.
Yeah, ex-boyfriend too, and he was a very vigorously
ex-boyfriend,
violent.
and he was violent and fucking cuckoo.
Yeah,
Anyways,
like they did get into a seriously heated argument, so that makes him like suspect number 1, basically.
Prime red suspect. Okay,
Yeah.
so it turns out they take him to jail, right, my dude?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, they take him to jail, and they don't, Glenn and Nancy.
Yeah, Glenn.
Whew, they don't think that he did it, because they know the man, and so they're like, well, Glenn does a little, doesn't he? I'm pretty sure Nancy doesn't think that he did it.
Well, no, Nancy doesn't believe that he did it, but Glenn, he's skeptical that Rod didn't do it, but he is willing to help out Nancy.
Yeah. So, Nancy has this itching suspicion that it wasn't our dude, Rod. Almost said Carl.
Where would that come from?
I got Shameless on the brain 24/7.
Yeah, she's a big fan of Shameless. So
#1 fan. Anyways, so yeah, she goes to
The jail.
the jail to visit Rod, and he's like, dude, like
He's sleeping away.
it wasn't.
Z's.
Oh wait, but no, doesn't she call? No, there's a phone call or something, right?
Wait, no. Okay, what happens is she has
Somehow he tells her
No, but wait.
that it wasn't him, my dude.
No, wait,
it
okay.
wasn't me.
Okay, no. First, there's a scene of him going, like, getting her into like these bushes or something like that. That says it. But no, yeah. But no, he says I didn't do it, and then that's when she begins to suspect that maybe the guy that was in Tina's dreams. That's
Crazy as that fucking sounds. I in real life would be like, bitch, you crazy. Like I wouldn't believe that for a minute.
Yeah.
Unless it started happening to me like it does with Nancy.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't believe it. I'd be like, this bitch is fucking nuts.
Yeah, but actually, no, there is a scene where she does visit the jail and she's nearby the cell with Rod, and then she starts talking.
Sleeping?
No, there's an earlier scene.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
There's an earlier scene before that where she wakes up from one of Freddy's nightmares, haha. This TV, TV show reference. But, however, what happens is she goes into, like, the room with the cell that he's in, and then he goes, he had knives for fingers, and it was like somebody was underneath the curtains, or not the curtains, but the sheets, and I couldn't see him. So
it was Freddy, my dude.
Yeah, but then what happens is there's the later on scene where, Nancy basically tells Glenn, like, okay, look, I'm gonna go down to there, you have to stay behind a tree or something like that, and then you have to watch and look over me. Basically. And then later on, we figure out that she was just asleep and the both of them were asleep. But, anyways, she goes down to the jail where he's sleeping. She sees him through a window that leads into the inside of his cell. And then Freddy pops up and he phases through the cell bars. He just goes through.
He hangs him.
Well, no, yeah, no.
He hangs him, and so they think that he killed himself.
Yeah, and Freddy's makeup is pretty gross in this movie. He does look disturbing in this movie. Unlike in the later on ones where he stopped being scary, here, he does look legitimately creepy because he pulls up the blanket and, like, tucks him in as a little joke, and then he looks up at Nancy and starts smiling at her creepily. And then that was disturbing.
Well, I just feel like the makeup was taken more seriously.
Yeah, you don't see him too much.
Because, like we said, it first started out to be like a true horror thing, and then it kind of became more funny.
Yeah,
so I think the makeup was just taken more seriously in the beginning.
Yeah, and it does look like realistic burn wounds, and you do not see him too much. You don't see him a lot.
Yeah. And that's another thing that, like, makes it good, is that because you're not seeing him the whole time, he becomes more scary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what movie to compare it to. Like a movie where there's a guy, like, in the whole thing. Probably like fucking Leprechaun Goes to the Hood. I mean, Leprechaun is probably in the whole fucking thing.
Really just compared to, like, Nightmare on Elm Street 5 or Nightmare on Elm Street 6 or something.
Well, I was just talking about something where the horror character's just in it the whole time. So, like really, like, I've been staring at you this whole time. Like, you just become less scary, my dude.
I guess I would have to say...
Never mind.
Yeah, never mind. It's not to do a comparison.
I'm just gonna say Leprechaun in the Hood. Haven't seen it, but I'm gonna assume that guy's in the whole fucking thing. Because it's about him
no, he is.
going to the hood.
Yeah, no, he is. I have seen it, but there is an earlier scene of her falling asleep in class, and then she gets attacked by Freddy. That's when she begins
That part's scary. She sees Tina in a bodysuit.
Yeah, then she just drags off, and then she meets this woman who's like, "Where's your hall pass?" And then she's like, "No, I don't care about your hall pass."
She's like,
yeah, she's
with
like,
her knife.
No, it's like her, but she's in, like, the Freddy sweater. She's got the glove, and her eyeballs are bleeding, and she's talking through Freddy's voice. Like, there's her, but you hear Freddy.
Oh yeah, that's Tina, isn't it?
No, it's like this hall pass lady, but she does see Tina in a body bag and in a bloodied up body bag, and obviously you follow it. You follow it instead of staying in the classroom. Especially when it leads into the basement of the school.
You're being sarcastic, right?
Yeah, I am being sarcastic, and it leads to the basement of the school, too.
I would never follow that fucking thing. I'd be like, oh, mommy!
I would have been terrified just to see my dead best friend.
I would have been terrified to see anything dead. And it could have been a frog in that fucking thing, and I'd have been like,
Yeah, I could have seen a frog in the hallway and still not followed it.
Yeah, you don't follow a frog in the hallway.
Frogs are not that bad, but they are bad when you come up to them. But yeah, anyways,
I'm just saying, if something's weird and out of place and suspicious, it's probably best to not fucking touch it or follow it or talk to it.
But that's when she begins to suspect that Freddy's real. Well, no, they do establish that she's had, like, brief nightmares. She's kicking a mirror.
Yeah, but she didn't think anything of it because, like,
Yeah, she wasn't...
You have nightmares all the time. But then when other people start having them and start dying...
the same descriptions too.
That's when you start taking that shit
Yeah,
seriously.
like she said in the beginning of the movie, like when Tina said, "Have you ever had any nightmares?" And then she goes, "Yeah, don't even worry about it. Everybody has a bad dream. Like sometimes, everybody has a nightmare all the time." And then that's when it begins to escalate into this is like supernatural.
And then everybody's having fucking dreams about fucking Freddy.
Yeah, but basically the whole thing is that in this town, all of the adults, basically Freddy has poisoned the town. He's basically poisoned the town of Springwood. And no adult wants to talk about it because a big majority of adults that live in the town killed him.
Yeah, part of the fucking
the clan
issue.
Yeah, they did.
They kind of created the issue.
Yeah, dare I say? Yeah, that's why Freddy's doing it.
Confuses me. Like I'd be going after him.
Yeah, well,
not the kids.
Well, no. Here's the thing, though. No, he's doing it as a form of revenge because. It's like, well, you killed me, I'm gonna go after the one thing that you love the most, which is your children. It's gonna hurt even more, because you're not dead. Your kids are, and you're being left alive. And this scars you even
more. I guess so.
Yeah, but,
in frame, boy.
However, so, Rod gets hung, quickly, Glenn gets dressed, and Nancy gets dressed, they sneak out, they go, and then, her dad, who's named Donald, by the way, or Don, or whatever, we'll call him Don. Don, he's the sheriff of Springwood. Either that or he's just a cop. He's just a cop. But, however, he just goes like, no, I can't allow you to see him. And then she goes, please, it's a matter of life and death, please, life and death. Please just let me see him. His life might depend on it. And then he's like, okay, fine, let me take you out back. But Freddy's already hanging him with the blanket, hanging Rod. And then he dies by the time they get in. There's lots of funerals. And then back at the funeral... Not by lots of funerals, I mean, there's two in the actual movie, but, however, it just feels like a long time because there's a big gap in between it. But
Stop staring at my mirror.
You keep on kicking it! It's swirling around, but, however, anyways, never mind that. She goes to the funeral, and then she's like, I think I know who killed Tina and Rod. And then he goes, okay, well, who? And then she goes, well, I don't know his name, but, and then they start describing it, then there's close-ups of his face, of the parents' faces that they're like, oh god, no, she might know. So then the mother, Marge, she takes Nancy out to this dream clinic.
And they hook her up to wires and shit.
Yeah, to test out her dreams and nightmares.
Yeah. And then she ends up pulling out his hat.
Yeah, and he gets a knife wounds.
Because she starts freaking out, and they're like, oh my god, and they're trying to stop it. And then they finally get it to stop, and she pulls out his hat, and a bitch got a freaking...
Yeah, claw marks. And not only that, but also the machine went past, like, they're like, the number ratings can only go up to, like, 4. It's going up to, like, 20, 30, 40, and that's like, okay, this is impossible. It's gotta be supernatural.
Yeah.
By the way, the main doctor, he's played by Charles Fleischer. I think that's how you say his name, how you pronounce it. But, however, he voiced Roger Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
I didn't know that.
And he was also in Tales from the Crypt Presents Demon Knight, which is like the Tales from the Crypt movie from the 90s. Yeah, he's just as much a cartoon icon as he's a horror movie icon. But, however, there's another icon of horror in this movie, Freddy Krueger and Robert Englund. But, however, anyways, she pulls out the hat, and then she talks to her mother, and then basically says, like...
And she's like, bitch!
And she's like, see, look, it has his name written on it. It says Freddy Krueger. And then the mother's just... She's a drunk, she's an alcoholic. She gets drunk all the time to numb the pain.
And then, she explains to her who Fred Krueger is and what, happened. And then, natural... Which is basically, like...
He killed 20 kids in the neighborhood, then they caught him.
Then they kill him.
Yeah, they had arrested him, but nobody read him his... Well, no, in the show, they say... In Freddy's Nightmares, the TV show, they say that they didn't read him his Miranda rights. But in this movie, they do say they didn't sign a search warrant, so he's let off of technicality. And he... And this, by the way, is only after she slaps Nancy across the face, and everybody's just stressed out in this movie. The parents, because, their kids are beginning to suspect. The kids, because they're the main prime targets.
They don't want the kids to think any less of them, because they're murderers, so...
Yeah, this is basically like, hey, who's Freddy Krueger? They're just like, oh no, it's bad dreams. That's all you need to know.
It's only this bitch that I murdered. No,
yeah, it's only this child killer, possible pedophile, possible child molester, that we burned to death and killed him. But then she basically says... We had burned him to death in the boiler room of this power plant that he worked at. And then basically we had gotten rid of his remains. And I've kept his glove, and she pulls out the glove. Then Nancy's just like, oh God, so you knew? And then she's like, yeah, I didn't want you to know because I was worried of you freaking out. But now I feel that after all of this, you really do need to know. Yeah. So and then later on that night, she calls up Glenn. There's a pretty cool scene of just them looking at each other through their windows because they do live like right across the street from each other. Then she's basically like, okay, look, I have just figured out if I grab onto him. And then as I'm still grabbing onto him. As I wake up, I'm able to pull him out of that world and bring him into this world.
And then we can kill the mofo.
And then at midnight, you have to break into my house. You have to come in with a baseball bat and beat the crap out of him. Pretty much mean basically kill him again. Which, by the way, is a stupid idea. We'll go into that later on. But then Glenn's like, okay, or no, it was midnight or 3 or 4 in the morning. But anyways, by the way, Glenn's dad is looking at Nancy as she's getting undressed, and she's naked, he's drinking a beer, he's like... And then she covers up the curtains, there's bars on the windows, by the way, because, Mars has gone crazy.
Yeah.
And then the mother's like, hey, what's going on? But then he's like, I don't like that kid, that crazy girl hanging around with Glenn. And then Glenn, she's like some kind of freak, and her mother's going crazy, too, and then she's like... We're just staring at a 17-year-old girl as she's getting naked. Who's the creepier person? Yeah. Like, she's at least not a damage to herself. I'm not gonna say which did not happen, but it happened. Yeah! But anyways, Wes Craven's dead, and we review a movie of his. And this is how we do it.
Basically, my booty was in
R.I.P. Wes Craven.
I see my hands.
Hands on our booties for you.
Booty cheeks out for Craven.
He's craving that booty. I'm sorry about that. Anyways. So yeah, that happens. Oh my God, by the way, this leads into probably the most infamous, to me at least, the most infamous scene of the movie, which is Glenn falls asleep, and then Freddy just pops out of his
that
arms.
Bitch fell asleep. He wasn't supposed to fall asleep.
Yeah, and then his arms pop out of Glenn's bed, pull him in, and then just big whip. Get your hands out of your booty cheeks. Okay, but anyways, he gets pulled down. And big giant waves of blood just shoot out of the bed.
That's the one thing I said, I don't feel like this movie, in my opinion, like compared to some movies I've seen, like Evil Dead and shit.
Yeah, or
I
like
don't
Brain
really
Dead.
feel it. Yeah, I don't feel like this movie's that gory. It's like a normal amount of like horror gore.
Yeah, like Friday the 13th. But this does.
This is like a lot of blood. So
this
if you have an issue with blood, like this scene's gonna fuck with you because I don't like blood. Yeah. So it's pretty gross and cringy.
Well, if you don't like blood, why would you be watching a horror movie anyways?
I don't like. Ever since I've seen Evil Dead, like blood fucks with me on another level.
Yeah, which one?
The remake.
Oh yeah, she puked when she saw that, by the way, in the theaters.
Yeah, and before that, I wasn't like that type of person. I wasn't like, ew, blood! But now I fucking freak out. Okay, sorry, but I cut my thumb one day, and there's blood everywhere, and it freaked me the fuck out. It didn't even really, it hurt a little, but it didn't even hurt that bad, but I, balled my eyes out because there's blood everywhere. So yeah, long story short, if you don't like blood, the scene is not for you.
Yeah, but by the way, no living organism's body can physically hold that much blood, nor can they hold it in that big of waves.
Plus, I think your body is like 80% water.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but then Glenn's mother just walks in, then she's like, hey, then she freaks out, and there's a deleted scene, a half portion of the movie, there's a deleted scene from this scene, but I would like to add it in because it does add to the creepiness to me, which is you then see Glenn's dead body just bloodied up, and then rises out, and then hits onto the bed. That part was deleted out, because it kind of negates the fact, like, his body wasn't opened up or anything, but it does just look creepy, him dead, rising up, covered up in so much blood, then he falls down dead and limp, that did creep me out. Yeah, Johnny Depp's first movie, and he dies the most brutal death.
The most brutal death in the whole movie.
The whole series, too. Well, no, never mind.
Maybe not. But it's up there.
Yeah, it's like top 5.
Yeah.
It's like a number 10 at the top 5.
Definitely.
There's a death scene in part 4, which personally for me is worse. But
what's that one?
It's the one in part 4. Not
Cockroach?
Not to get too off topic, but
is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, there's a scene where.
That's the first one that came to mind when we were talking about that.
Yeah, like he breaks her elbows at first, which already can make you cringe, and then her arms fall and she turns into a big giant cockroach, and then he puts her in a roach motel with another cockroach, then he squeezes it.
Yeah, that one's pretty fucked.
By the way, something that we didn't bring up, Robert Englund, the actor who plays Freddy Krueger, he's really good.
Such a good job. Like, if I ever see him in any other movies, like, you know when you see a character play a movie, or
an actor.
An actor play a character, and then you see them in other things, like, and you just can't take them seriously. Like, for instance, Frank from Shameless, William H. Macy. If I see him in anything else, I'm like, yeah, you're doing great. But,
like, Nights.
Yeah, in Boogie Nights, or, like, in Wild Hogs, where he plays a completely different character, I'm like, this is weird, because, like, you're Frank, and so, like, you don't see them as anybody else. That's how it is with Robert Englund. You're like, this is weird, because you're Freddy, so, like, the fuck? Not that they're doing a bad job, just like you can't see them as anybody else because they did such a great job doing that character.
That's so stapled with them that you can't picture anybody else. And like lots of people on the set of this movie we're getting pretty hard at getting work. Like Robert Englund, he was doing the series V, but his character was a very small supporting role. Nothing else really happening. But now people just adore him and they know him as Freddy. He stars in all kinds of like cheesy B horror movies now, like zombies, strippers. And he was in Hatchet. He did appear in Hatchet, which is...
Ooh, that movie's gory.
Yeah, that whole entire trilogy of movies, those are intense.
You talk about gory, that's some of the goriest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, those are good movies, but holy crap, dude. We should maybe review them. Maybe. By the way, the guy who plays... Not to get, once again, like I said, not to get too off topic, but Kane Hodder plays Victor Crowley, the main antagonist of the Hatchet trilogy, because it's a series of 3 movies. He played Jason Voorhees 4 times, and there was eventually Freddy vs. Jason. He didn't play Jason in that. He only played him in parts 7, 8, 9, and 10.
See, that's how you know what a bitch is good.
Yeah, Kane Hodder is also just as famous as Robert Englund, too.
But,
each one just didn't get to reprise their roles once. Well, Kane Hodder twice, but yeah, anyways.
Yeah, so, basically, because... Glenn, almost called him Greg, falls asleep. I'm fucking up names all night tonight. But, because Glenn falls asleep, he fucks up the whole plan. And so then Nancy has to set up this whole, like, booby trap contraption. Like, this big old booby trap.
Yeah, she buys this survival books. This one survival book. But when Glenn's still alive, he just grabs it. He's like, what do you need this for?
Yeah.
She's like, I just need it. Walks off. He's like, okay, see you tomorrow. He's like eating a burger. He's just like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
But yeah, so she sets up this big old booby trap. Basically, she falls asleep, right? Like, how does she even wake up? How is she able
she sets an alarm, and then she pulls, like, the alarm into her dreams, so that way she can perfectly time everything. She rigs her whole entire house.
And then, so she falls asleep, right? And, the alarm goes off or something. I don't know. And she pulls him into the real world and fucks him up.
Yeah, where now his powers are kind of negated, just barely. And by the way, that is a stupid idea, because here's what I mean. I did think about this till I saw 2 other guys from Off the Shelf Reviews, Gary and Ian. They did it. That's all I know. They're their first names. I don't know their last names. But however, they said, well, the only real reason why he's even in the dream world is because he got killed. So what's pulling him out of that world and putting him here again and just killing him again? What's that gonna do? It's gonna send him back to the dream world. It's gonna make the ending make more sense.
Yeah, I mean, the bitch never dies, so it's like...
Yeah.
That's what I never get about these horror movies, is that these people never die, so, like, why do you keep trying?
I mean, well, no, Jason Voorhees does die, it's just that for some retarded reason he keeps on coming back. Freddy, there's no real...
There's things that die, but they come back.
Yeah.
Michael Myers
just doesn't even die, like, legit. He goes into a coma. He goes into a coma.
Because he's too big and thick.
Yeah.
He's a thick bitch.
He's thick.
But, just saying, I don't know.
Deborah Hill's dead, too. She's the co-writer for Halloween.
But, I mean, these bitches just keep coming alive. That's the one thing I don't get. Yeah. I'd like, just kill me, because if you're just gonna keep coming back and fucking up my life, and all my energy is focused on trying to kill you all the time.
That does make the ending. That does make the ending, which did throw me off the first time. That makes it make more sense. So then, after Freddy gets burnt up again, he attacks Marge. In front of Nancy and Dawn.
Yeah, well, they think that everything's okay,
yeah,
right?
Everything's burning up, and then it turns out he's still kicking a little bit, he's strangling Marge. Then she dies, turns into a decayed, rotten corpse, or either that or just burnt up a chart, raises her arm up, goes into the bed, disappears. So the Dawn's just basically like, Nancy's like, do you believe me now? And then he's like, I'm gonna go check back at the rest of the burning house. And then he closes up the door. Freddy, in a pretty cool effect. By the way, there's a scene where he comes popping through a wall. Here, there's another pretty cool effect like that, because they're both very cool effects. He comes through the bed, and then he claws through and comes out. And then he's like, it didn't kill me. And then she's basically like, well, I'm not scared of you anymore. So I'm taking away all your power. And then he's like,
yeah, that's one thing. If you aren't scared of him.
Yeah, they do establish that.
Then, like, he's useless.
Yeah, take away his fear. That's his power.
They explain it more in Freddy vs. Jason. Like, it goes real into depth in that movie about how, like...
Yeah, well, here it's not really, like, specifically a part of his lore or mythos. Like, while Glenn is still alive, because remember the scene when they're just by, like, above the creek of the river or something like that, or the lake or whatever. Glenn and Nancy are talking, and then Glenn's basically like, well, in some countries, like monks or something like that, if they have a bad dream, they usually turn their back on it. So that way it takes away the power. Okay, but well, what happens if they don't turn their back on it? Well, then they don't wake up to see what happens next. That's literally what he says. So she's really just using, like, monk powers, basically.
Monk.
In order to get rid of Freddy, but then in the later on sequels, that was a flat-out thing, which, by the way, they did borrow for It, by the way. They did borrow that from this movie. Where basically, the later on things, that's basically, like, the whole point to him. Sorry if I keep saying the word basically, by the way, it's my favorite thing. And, or like. But, however, what happens is, Freddy, she basically, like a wish, like a genie, she's like, bring back my friends and bring back my mother. He's like, I don't want to. You're gonna, I don't want, you're gonna. Then she leaves. He tries to get her, and then he incinerates, but it kind of, by the way, he literally does say the no. By the way, when he does fall down, it kind of looks like he's incinerating into her bottle.
It kind of does.
It does. Then she walks out of the room, and then she comes out of the door to the front house, and Marge is still out.
Everything
she's like,
is
a drink.
Okay.
Except for the fog, and then she goes into Glenn's car, which, by the way, has a top. And then it comes down. It's like
and
Freddy.
It looks like Freddy Krueger colors.
Yeah, and then the winters are coming up. Then Nancy.
He's like, I'm not doing this. She's like, stop doing that. And Glenn's like, I'm not doing this.
At first they're laughing, and then they're rolling up. Then Nancy's like, Glenn, okay, can you please get out? He's like, I'm not doing it. I thought you were. And then they're looking behind to Tina. I thought you were, right? And then Freddy pops out. Well, no, there's a deleted scene with Freddy.
He pops out of the window. He grabs Marge. Fucking just kills the bitch.
Basically the car drives away. And even though Nancy's pounding like mother, and then she's like,
see, that's what I don't get, because Nancy comes back in the third one.
Yeah.
So like I just don't get what that whole scene was for. Not saying it's bad. Like I like that. I wasn't expecting.
But it kind of doesn't make sense when you begin to.
Yeah, but when you do the sequels, it makes no sense, because Nancy comes back and it was like, what was the point of fucking doing the car thing?
Yeah.
If nothing happened.
Well, here's the thing, though. Originally, the ending was just going to be her driving away. It was going to be a happy ending. But Robert Shea said that there was so much room for sequels. Because at the time, every horror movie was getting sequels. Halloween was getting it.
And this is one of those movies that you could do so many sequels to, and, like, I don't know, it just is
then they kept on doing it.
Like
it's a TV series.
Yeah.
And a video game.
It's just one of those things you could do anything with
and a remake.
Because I don't know, it's just such a classic, and there's just so much you can do with Freddy. Like, Freddy is just so versatile.
And he doesn't really have a limit when he's in the dream world.
Yeah, that's the thing. He has no limits. He can do anything. He's a powerful motherfucker.
Yeah, in this first movie, they had a lower budget. The more and more it went on, the more and more bigger the budget got, so that the more and more they were able to do successfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, had this movie just been its own movie, people would still be like those movies with endings that kind of confuse you, and that there's like videos on YouTube like ending explained. Like here's what happened. This is a theory or something like that. Some stuff like the ending of Blair Witch Project, like film theories. But
yes,
it does have sequels. But Blair Witch Project. However, anyways, yes, they did do sequels. A couple of them which I really like, Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Well, I think they're all good in their own way, and like I said, they all seem to have a really strong cult following. So like whether I don't like 5. I think it's stupid.
I personally like it, but
wait, which one's the one with the video game?
That's Freddy's Dead Final Nightmare, which is 6.
Okay, I hate that one.
I used to hate it,
but lots of people really love that one.
I don't love it, but I used to absolutely despise it and hate it.
I hate it. It's boring. I don't like it.
I like it better. I don't like it per se. I don't even love it. I don't even barely like it. But I do see some charm.
We'll get more into that in a different review about that movie. But for the final thoughts,
they did do a remake, by the way, which was terrible, and the TV show was good.
Wait, the TV show, which was final thoughts.
Anyways, final thoughts. It's really good.
It's amazing. Like we said a million times.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
It's like Poltergeist. The 80s Poltergeist. It's just supernatural fun. It's just great. You need to check it out. You need to check it out. Ow, my elbow.
But
you do need to check it out. So, can I recommend A Nightmare on Elm Street? Yes, I can. Tina, what about you?
Same.
Or Tay. This is a running joke, by the way. It's an in-joke.
We're Tina. We're both Tina.
It's a running joke. It's an in-joke.
But, yeah. We recommend it. Go fucking watch it.
Buy it on VHS, Blu-ray, DVD, Laserdisc, whatever you need to do, buy it. So that was, At the Cinema with the D&T. We'll see you.
I'm T.
Peace out, and we'll catch you all later on. Bye.
Peace to your mother's east. Ice, ice, baby.